We've really filled up this paper talking about relative max and min, but one other thing that WebAssign asks you about is just looking at a graph, filling out where it's increasing and decreasing. Now we've done this with a sign chart and we can see a picture, but lastly, we're just gonna actually name these intervals. So one thing that you can do to make doing the homework easier is you could make it into a sign chart if that helps you to pinpoint where it's increasing or decreasing, or you can try to just base it off the graph. So lastly, let's put this in interval notation. Where is it increasing? It's increasing before -1. I can look at my sign chart and see that, or I can look at that part of the graph, whichever is more useful to you. I usually make sign charts out of graphs, but you can totally do whatever you want. So before -1, we'd say -infinity to -1. Union, it's also increasing after 1. I can tell from the sign chart I made, or I can just look back at the graph and kind of trace where it's rising. So I'm going to say union 1 to infinity. If you see a definitive part where the graph stops, like it has a dot at 2 and you don't have any line after, you would just say 1 to 2. But because this one keeps going up, we're going to assume that it keeps going till x goes to infinity. And then decreasing is between our two critical numbers, -1 to 1. So never any random test values here. You're only going to switch at critical numbers. And for the bottom graph, we're going to do the same thing. You could pause the video and see if you can do this on your own. And I'm going to try to find a place to write it. We're learning a lot from a graph all at once. We have increasing. I'll write that first. So increasing looks like it doesn't start, I'm tracing the graph, it's falling some more. It doesn't switch to be rising until the end. So it's increasing from 3 to infinity. And decreasing, I would say -infinity. And it's not really decreasing at 0, right? It's not falling here, it's kind of flat. So I'm gonna stop at 0. Union 0 to 3. So we don't say -infinity to 3 all the way through, just because it does not decrease at 0. It flattens out. It has a derivative of 0, not a negative derivative. So I say decreasing -infinity to 0, union 0 to 3. And that's really all I could possibly ask you about a graph. The relative max and min, and increasing and decreasing.